Welcome to News Points on the Air, a production of the North American Division of Seventh day Adventists. I'm your host, Milan Medley. Baby boomers, Gen Xers, and even my contemporaries, elder millennials, brace yourselves. Today, we're going to talk about TikTok. Yes, the rapidly growing social media app with 300 million monthly active users, either producing and or consuming very short video clips. The fun, entertaining, shareable clips are responsible for most of the social media challenges you may have seen, heard, or even attempted this year. From singing challenges to dancing challenges and even recipe challenges. And that's where today's guest comes in. Kevin Wilson, an associate pastor of the Oceanside Seventh day Adventist Church, became a viral sensation this summer for making authentic chai and delightfully encouraging others to attempt his recipe. 2.5 million likes later, he's been featured in local news and even on Forbes, and right here, right now, on News Points on the Air. Hello, Kevin. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's fun.
Yeah, so, okay, I want to orient the viewers and listeners to the way I was introduced to you because I am not on TikTok, but I am on Twitter every day, a couple times a day. And in July, I came across a retweet. So it wasn't even someone that I follow, a retweet. And it said, my favorite thing on the internet today is this super enthusiastic guy on TikTok teaching people how to make chai, then duetting all the people who try it. And that alone had 703,000 views. So I was like, oh my goodness, this seems awesome. I love drinking tea. I especially love chai. I don't know how to make it the right way. So this seems like perfect content for me. And so it pointed me to, I believe it was your first TikTok related to chai. But before we dive into the chai, the word that really stood out to me in that post was enthusiastic, and how I've seen you describe with other people who've watched your content is that he's enthusiastic and he's positive. Is that the type of energy you were hoping to put out with this content?
Yeah, so initially, when I started this whole thing, I had no idea how to go about sharing this thing, my love for chai. As a matter of fact, it didn't even start off as a chai thing.
Mm-hmm.
It started off as me just experimenting with the channel. But I think a couple of videos went viral on TikTok, and as I analyzed some of those as to what made it go viral, one of the things that I realized was that people were gravitating towards any expression of meaningful care, especially in a hyperpolarized culture. The duet feature on TikTok was typically used to either put somebody else down or to react against something that somebody else has done. And that gets a lot of views. And so I decided, you know what, let me just put my own spin into the duet feature. And for those of you who are watching, who have no idea what the duet feature
Yeah, I
is
was about to
basically
ask you to describe what
y-
duetting is.
yeah, so basically it's a feature of TikTok where it allows you to have your video on one side of the screen and another person's video on the other side, and you can actually live react to the other video and then post it as a part of your own content.
Hmm.
And so that's what the duet feature allows you to do. And so I started to just basically coach people through whatever they were doing in a I was genuinely just excited that people were trying it out. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was really genuinely excited. And so I think over time, a lot of people were like, okay, we need more of this stuff and we need more encouragement and this and that. And so I think that's kind of how it grew. And yeah, over time, it just became a part of my content creation strategy. I think, especially right now in a hyperpolarized society, facts and information and right information, while they have their place in discourse, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they necessarily change people's perspectives in the short term. But I think friendship coupled with facts over a long period of time can do the job. And I've actually
Wow.
seen that happen even in my TikTok, where you have people saying, I I've left the church. I'm done with institutionalized religion. But
Mhm,
hey, like I keep coming back to your thing because like you're a pastor who knew. Let's talk, you
mhm.
know. And so it's interesting to see what positivity and encouragement and a meaningful expression of care can do to people.
Yeah, and I liked how you broke down the duetting because I have seen duets even before I knew the word for it. But you're right, it is putting people down. And if you were to take that approach, you would have a field day because a lot of people butcher your recipe
Yep, a
in a
lot.
certain tone. But you are just so kind and just so encouraging. And you have me thinking, like, I could do this. I don't have half the ingredients, but I feel like I could try and I could put it out there, and Kevin would make me feel okay for even trying. Because even one
No,
woman,
I'm grateful for that.
even that one woman who didn't even have tea leaves, that was one of my favorite posts of yours. You were like, oh, that's fine. That's fine. You could do it again next time. That was great.
I'll have to let you know that there's some recipes that are that it's very very hard to find anything positive in that. But I try my best. I try my best. You know, you want to keep people engaged and excited about things that they want to try out.
Yeah, because even that woman came back and she was able to execute the recipe in a much better way. So that was really cool to see too. But let's go to the days leading up to April 13th, which from what I could tell was the first time you posted chai related content. So what made you even decide to do that with your chai, or what even, because it seemed like you weren't doing much on TikTok before then too. So how did you even get on TikTok?
Right. So somewhere around January was the first time I got on TikTok, period. And it was because my youth were on it, and I'm an associate pastor. I'm a youth and young adult pastor here at Oceanside, San Diego, and so yeah, I wanted to see the app. And at the time, I didn't want to invest in another app because I was already doing stuff on YouTube pretty consistently, and I was
Mm-hmm.
getting some traction there. And I said, like, I have no time to get into TikTok. And so this one time when I was on Instagram, because I have an active Instagram as well, I
Mm-hmm.
decided to document my chai making process. And for for my friends who know me, they know that chai has been an integral part of my life, even before this TikTok thing happened. I grew up with it. It was a beverage of my culture,
Mm-hmm.
and I would make it for people who knew that I could make it for them. And so that's kind of the thing that I do. So this one time I decided to take a series of pictures, posted some things on my story, and I made a video with just the like, it was pretty bad pictures actually. It was not really high quality anyway. But I just did a narration over it and I put it on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
Nothing happened for the first to second day, but the third day it started to rack up views. And within the first 2 weeks of that going live, it had about 100,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
And so that made me think, okay, well, let me do more of this.
Yeah.
That's how it started. That's really how it started. And I started to just experiment, tweak things, and do more. And yeah, I think right now I'm at 100 and almost 140,000.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really like about your content, in addition to, the chai and how you encourage people, is how you incorporate inspirational messages in a very short amount of time, because it's like 15 seconds, right? Or 30. So how do you go about creating these mini devotionals? What's your approach?
Right. So first of all, I don't think of my chai, what I do on TikTok, as a ministry. Like, I didn't do it thinking that, like, I want to convert people. I want people to know Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did it because I love chai and I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to share this knowledge with people. But I also didn't want to make it just a recipe thing, because that's not me. There's more to me than just chai. And that's why I still keep my brand name, which is Cross Culture Christian, as
Yeah.
opposed to the name that a lot of people want me to change it to, which is Chai Guy. Everybody wants me to change it. Like, there's
Chai
so
guy.
many people are like, change it, change it, change it. Because it's just marketable. It's just like I can present myself like that. But I didn't want to, because chai is what I do, but it's not who I am. And
Mm,
so I wanted to share my content. I wanted to reflect that part of my who I am as well within my content. And so that came. So I wanted to figure out, okay, how do I do this? And so that's where even the idea of the inspirational messages started to come into play. So the way I do it practically is I obviously start with the chai recipe, and I film all the stuff, and then as I do the narration, I start to think about ways of incorporating culture into my content. So recently I've been leaning on to my story, so the things from my past, things from my father's life, my grandfather's life,
mm.
and that's been really doing well too. And so yeah, so I see my recipes or my videos as kind of modern day parables, if you want to put it that way.
Hmm.
And so it's been good. So basically, chai is just a medium for me to share my story, and it's just a storytelling tool.
Yeah, and so that kind of leads to the next question I have, or question statement, because in reviewing your content, it seems that you've helped contribute to or curate um, and promote this diverse community on TikTok. You know, these viewers, myself included, we don't get to hear a lot about Southern Asian culture. And even you even broaden that region to even Middle Eastern cultures, because the one you did with the Moroccan tea, like this beautiful woman who showed this beautiful process of the mint tea. So I just thought that is incredible to using your platform not just for inspirational messages, but for broadening our understanding of this culture that isn't widely discussed in at least in US culture in terms of like learning about different cultures. So can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, again, once again, I did not intend on making that a goal with my content. I think it's just over time, because of the attention, it just I kind of became one of the, at least on TikTok, the TikTok community became one of the spokespeople or whatever for our cultures, for Desi culture, so Southeast Asian culture. So that's Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, that part of the world, Nepal, and
Okay.
now a little parts of the Middle East as well. TikTok has the journey has really opened up a lot of doors. I mean, I've had many conversations with people who are from the Southeast Asian community, who are Christian, and they come to me and they're like, well, I thought it's so hard to find Christians or also Southeast Asian. Like, wow, I'm so
Wow.
glad I found you, and we talk about stuff,
Wow.
because there's common understanding that unless that if you are that if you're Christian,
Hmm.
that somehow you are kind of a lesser Desi person, because you've adopted the religion of the colonizer.
Okay.
But so the only way for you to be truly Indian is to either be a Hindu or a Muslim. But
Hmm.
if you are a Christian, Christian Sri Lankan, you're kind of somehow like you've sold your soul to the devil type of. There's a kind of mentality there. So with the TikTok, it's been interesting to see to be able to help people reframe their identities or contextualize their identities. And most of the time, this happens through like a DM on Instagram. They find me
Hmm.
there, and we have one-on-one conversation. I'm also just couple of days ago, I got into a conversation with the director for the InterVarsity for Southeast Asians. So the InterVarsity is basically like a big public campus organization that's been existing for I think almost 100 years in America.
Wow.
And so there's a Southeast Asian chapter for it. And so this guy who's the director for it contacted me and said, "Hey, can you speak to like our groups of our students?" It's a
Hmm.
non-denominational organization. I'm
Wow.
also working with a chai brand right now, so doing influencer marketing for these guys. Two brothers from the parents are from Bangladesh, but they're born and raised in New York, and so I'm helping them out with their content. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been interesting to see the exposure and how this has created more opportunities for conversation.
Yeah, and like even though you said people want you to change your name to Chai Guy, when I've seen your culture about when I've seen your post rather about your culture, Sri Lanka and the Southeast Asian community, I'm like, this is his name, cross-cultural Christian
Yeah,
who happens to do chai, you know?
exactly. Yep.
So I'm like, it's very much on brand in my eyes, at least. But I'm not the one trying to get you to like market things. But to me, you're very consistent in who you project yourself to be and how you're received So, what has surprised you most throughout this whole journey?
I think it has to be the power of 1 minute.
Hmm. Yeah.
The the things, I mean, just 60 seconds, the amount of things that that can help you do. It's incredible. This whole journey started with me just making a video for 60 seconds and
Mm-hmm.
then and posting it, and it has opened so many doors. It has opened so much access to places and things that I could not have gone to if I was just a pastor. And I'm not saying that I'm regretting my decision to be a pastor. I love it. I actually love it. But to see how God has like expanded the territory just based on just 160 seconds at a time, 60 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's been the most surprising thing about the TikTok journey. And to uh, also surprising to me is to how many people don't value their creativity enough to actually try. Just
Hmm.
try posting stuff. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. There's just a fear of failure. There's a fear of uh, other people's perception. There's a perfectionism thing going on, and all that stuff. You just imagine if people just posted. Most of the people on TikTok are consumers and not producers. And so, what if yeah? So anyhow, that's the thing that's been very surprising for me.
Yeah.
Power of 60 seconds.
Yeah. That's really profound. And what would you say you've learned about yourself throughout this whole journey?
Yeah, I think it has to be that my story is not a liability, but an asset,
Mm.
including the not so good parts of it. When I came to the States about 10 years ago, it was a very rough period because I was trying to fit in to existing structures and systems in my school and my contexts, and I always felt left out. Always felt like I didn't fit in because of either my accent or how I looked and all these different things. And so for the longest time, I asked God, like, why didn't you? Why wasn't I born here in America? Like, why am I not fitting in? Why
Mm.
don't I completely understand this person or that person? Why am I always misunderstood? But God had to take me on this journey to remind me that my story is sacred and it is beautiful, and that the uniqueness of my story is such an asset, and not a liability, not in the least. And to the extent that my story finds significance within a larger story, which is the gospel, is the extent to which my story can be a blessing to other people's stories.
Wow. That's beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
If there's one thing that this whole thing has taught me, is to see people not as a sum of body parts or a string of sentences on a Facebook post, but as stories, with stories with limbs. People have unique stories, they have perspectives that you have no idea about, and that the things that we know about them are the things that they want to share, and that's just only a little bit. So my TikTok, there's so many people who are following me, especially non-Christians, agnostics, atheists,
Mm.
people who historically the institutionalized church has marginalized or discriminated against. There's so many people who just come through, and we have conversations. And so the more I talk with them, the more I realize, hey, you know what, I have to see you as a story, because your perspectives are so unique and I can learn from that. And so once we approach people, when we approach each other from that perspective, we can be liberated from the tyranny of like wanting them to believe what we believe, or like thinking that, oh, we just need to convert them and stuff like that. No, if we really believe that God has given us the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is already present in the world, then it means that he's already at work, even amongst people that we have already said, I don't think those people
Mm.
are, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
those, I don't think the gospel is for them. So yeah, if you so yeah people are stories, people have unique perspectives, and if we but choose to focus on that, we'll probably get a little ahead in our conversation, in our discourse, especially right now.
Amen. That's a perfect way to wrap up this awesome conversation. Kevin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of News Points on the Air. News Points on the Air is produced, edited, and hosted by myself, Milan Medley. The executive producers are Dan Weber, Julio Munoz, and Kimberly Moran. And graphics are by Jonathan LaPointe. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and share with your friends. Give us a 5-star rating, a glowing review, and don't forget to subscribe. And speaking of subscribe, be sure to subscribe to News Points, a weekly digital newsletter with news stories, special announcements, and ministry resources. Visit nadadventist.org and click on news. And if you have any questions or comments, send them in to ontheair@nadadventist.org. That's ontheair@nadadventist.org. That's it for now. We'll see you in 2 weeks.